And one thing you've helped me with, and this was a game changer, just, it's budgeting and ROI. So with budgeting, I never had a systematic way to kind of budget. And with Profit First, we talked about, well, you should put aside, every dollar that comes in, 20% or whatever the number is goes to marketing, paying yourself first. And I never in my entire career had a system. It was basically, in my last business, if there was money in the account, but that's how I paid myself because we were always charging and then getting paid hopefully within 15 days. So and paying our subcontractors after the fact, but it was based off of cash flow, which was actually the wrong way of doing things because we didn't have at the time a monthly P&L. So that was super helpful. And then ROI, it's like, okay, this is my 20%, and that 20% is will make up a number, 50,000 bucks. Well, okay, of that 50,000, what is the ROI? Should I be 3, 4, 5xing that type of, those numbers in order for that to be sustainable? And that was never taught to me as a franchisee. Not a knock against a franchisor. It's just not. They always just said, this is kind of the average spend per month, not percentage, but the dollar amount. So that was super helpful. Can you elaborate a little bit? Any recommendations, along those lines?
So here's the thing. Budgets are like diets. Everybody hates them. Let's talk about setting a
Right,
target and measuring how we are against the target.
right,
And then creating a system for cash flow management. That's what you're talking about. When I started this franchise, I'm supposed to have a 15% profit margin. Well, okay, every time a dollar comes in, let's put 15% aside. That's your profit margin. If you can't run the business on 85%, why not? Where are you
right.
overspending and where are you wasting money in the business? I mean, the reality is running a business is just like people. When you were in your 20s, maybe you got a job paying 30, 40, 50 grand. Today, if you're in your 40s or 50s, you're making six figures and it seems like there's less money. It's because of lifestyle creep.
Right.
Well, people own businesses. And so those same financial things that people experience in their personal,
Mhm.
business owners experience in their business. And we get business lifestyle creep, right? Oh, we need to do this. And oh, we need to do
Right.
that. And then the other part of that is employees don't understand finances. So if you haven't taught your employees to be financially savvy, well, they're just going to waste your money because that's what they've been trained to do. They don't think about, hey, every time I waste something or do something wrong or let that slide, it's money out the door.
Yeah,
And so you got to change
that's
the
a good
way you
point.
focus.
That's a great point, and part of that is on the business owner as well. Something I learned years ago at my last business is we would talk about profitability, but we never showed the employees. So we would have quarterly meetings to say, because they sales were up, they saw business was going well, and they expected bonuses and things like that, which we always tried our very best in order to take care of everyone. But I said, well, just because sales is up doesn't mean profitability is up. So we would talk about, okay, sales are up, but we're actually making less money because of X, Y, and Z. So I think having, being transparent with the staff, and you don't have to give them access to your QuickBooks, but I think letting them know this is kind of where we stand on a quarterly basis. We are making more money, but with that being said, we need to make cuts here, and there. My general manager, I even gave him some phantom equity. Every quarter, he would get a distribution of the profits. So he was cognizant. He was aware of the spend. Do we really need another employee? Do we really need extra marketing, or should he go out every Friday and network at the Chamber of Commerce events and things like that? So I think part of it, to your point, is yes, they're not aware, but we also are not empowering them to be aware, right, with the data, with the information. So that was a big change, and I think people realize, like, wow, we're losing money and sales are up. What changes? How do we? We're a team. How do we make the changes together?
And I'm a big fan of rewarding employees who can help you lower
Mm,
operational costs or efficiency.
right.
So if an employee comes up with an idea that saves the business owner $10,000, give them a grand,
Yeah.
give them 2 grand,
Mhm.
right? Create the atmosphere of everybody going, hey, how do we make more money? Because at the end of the day, a purpose of the business is really simple, to make more money. And we add in while working less. because I don't want
I
people to kill themselves. You didn't start this business to kill yourself. You shouldn't. There are ways to
mhm,
do this, and you've already got a system with a franchise of how to deliver your operation. Now you just need a system on the financial side and how to really maximize and spend time thinking about the business instead of being stuck in the business. And
right.
if you're employees now, just look around the room wherever you're working and ask yourself, is everyone in here making the company more profitable, or are there a bunch of people here who are just taking up space? Right? And when you own a business, you're gonna have the same problem. You gotta ask yourself, is this person taking
Yeah,
up space? Where is the return on what they're supposed to do? How do I improve it? Like right now, you see with fast food, right? They're getting rid of people galore and they're putting in ordering screens and
yeah,
apps and ways to cut employee costs. And I'm not against people and workers, but you've got to do it right. That's why I love Costco versus like Sam's Club. Costco pays its employees a lot more than Sam's Club does. But when you go there, you get a very different experience. And so you got to think through that. How am I going to build my culture, my values?
mhm,
How am I going to run this business to be the type of place that people love to come to and do business with versus ones that it's friction to do business with you. And I don't think business owners realize how much friction they put in place to do business with them. The easier it is, the easier it is. Look at Amazon, one click, buy now.
yeah. It's simple. The Amazon is the perfect model, right? I mean, you have everything. I follow Marcus Sheridan from They Ask You Answer, and he said
Mhm.
Amazon. You go there, you get reviews, so you can do your research. It's easy. It's one click. Your data saved. If you want to look at competitors and other, I'm looking at a wireless mic, for example. I purchased two mics to bring to our conference next week, and they gave comparisons, and you can test them out. They're easy to return. Go to Amazon and then go to your website. And I jokingly say, pretend like you're a customer. I go to your website. Do I know what the heck you even do? And that's sometimes a mystery. What do you do? And give us an idea on pricing. If you're $50,000 minimum to meet, and that's the cost, maybe you're giving some data, but that's going to rule people out and just say, well, I don't have that type of funds. Maybe I need to go a different route. But just being open and transparent will help. Will it increase or decrease lead flow? It could be both, but that the quality of lead at the end of the day should increase. So absolutely shop yourself. Just see like, maybe have someone not biased, a friend kind of maybe, search the site and give you some advice as to where, areas of improvement.
So, so true.
What else? What other advice did you have? So a lot of the audience listening in is our corporate execs looking to make that first move to entrepreneurship. What other advice do you have for them? And many of them have never owned a business before.
Yeah. And I think, this is the problem. People who don't own a business don't realize how much is involved and how difficult it can be to build everything yourself. So, like, I partnered with Profit First. Everything that's in that Profit First book is the way I built my wealth. I understood it fully. And then I'm like, well, if I understand this fully, what do I need them for? And then I realized, well, then I have to write my own book.
Right.
I have to market it. I have to create the templates and the different things that I'm going to use for my delivery. And I'm like, wait a minute. I don't want to do any of that,
Right.
right? By partnering, which is what a franchise is, they provided me all the
Mm,
templates. Profit for that name of Profit First has opened so many doors for me. Like, think about it. When you're driving down the street and you see McDonald's or, you know, JoJo's Burger
mm,
Bar, where do you go?
right.
Right? Depending on where you are, the branding and all of that stuff, that might not be in your wheelhouse and it might not be the parts of the business you love.
Right.
Yes, you can go create it yourself, but it takes a lot of work and effort. And so this is the shortcut to get through all of that. And I think that's the big part. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Until you do it, you really don't get it. And this is an easy way to kind of get it without having to kill yourself trying to learn it all and, figure out the marketing and the delivery and the production and the sourcing and the design and the layout and creating the user manuals for every
It's a lot. Yeah.
employee. There's a lot of work
It's
there.
overwhelming. It's
It's
overwhelming.
overwhelming. Yeah. And
Yeah.
that like the people who are my clients who don't have franchises, we spend half our time talking about you need a system and a process. And they're like, "I don't have time to build one." I'm like, "Yeah, well,
You
hello."
need to make time.
A solid financial engine is critical, but what kind of vehicle should you put it in? In the full How to Build a Franchise That Lasts Generations episode, business buying expert David C. Barnett breaks down the monumental decision. Should you buy an existing business or start a new franchise? Click here to watch the full episode now.